Hi, I'm Dan Miller, Historical Solutions, LLC. It's nice to talk to you today. I wanted to get the video done and out for you here without too much time elapsing between our session, our Leadership Now workshop, and the time that you get to view this video. Hopefully this might trigger another thought or two that we didn't have time to go into in the workshop that might be of some value to you. I've been giving some thought to what ties together all three examples of leadership from the late 1930s during economic stagnation. And I think I've got something, and that is eyes up and eyes out. Eyes as in EYES. Eyes up, eyes out. Some people might call that vision. I don't think that's a good enough word. I think it's too flat, too cliched, and too trite. Eyes up and eyes out better describes what we saw from A&P, Grumman, and Winston Churchill. From the A&P perspective, the Hartford brothers, eyes up and eyes out, meant that they took an existing, long time existing product and service and applied new technology and new methods of communication and frankly just new methods of doing business, applied those new things to an existing product and service and made it into something new, made it into something successful, even more successful in the trough of economic stagnation that was the late 1930s. You remember, it was radio, it was women's magazines, and it was a new kind of a grocery store called a supermarket. So for A&P, eyes up, eyes out meant doing something new, being innovative with something that was already in place, something existing, and something, frankly, that had already proven successful and could have been argued to leave it alone and it'll be fine. But they didn't take that argument. They didn't go and stop at that argument. They went eyes up, eyes out into other areas. For Grumman, eyes up and eyes out meant, I think, listening to and responding to customers in something that is completely new, which is air travel, air power in the late 1930s. They listened to what their customers and clients wanted and then went back internally into their own organization to make those desires into a reality. And in so doing, split the responsibilities, split the gifts, and split the skills, each doing what they did best. Leroy Grumman on one hand and Jake Swerble, or Leon Swerble on the other, each pursuing their own particular strength and gift in the sense of eyes up, eyes out back in their shop. They didn't try to force the issue, didn't try to lecture or dictate to consumers and clients what they should want in this new industry, in this new aspect of life, air travel, but listened to them and then went back and responded to those things. So that's another version of eyes up, eyes out. And then third and finally, we had Winston Churchill, who shows us that we need to realize there are things more fundamental than what we may first assume. From the late 1930s, and as well as from our own time, economic security, your livelihood, your ability to pay bills, whether it's as an individual or as an organization or a company or some other kind of entity. We think that that's probably one of the most basic concerns there is, and it is. However, there can be even more fundamental concerns than that. In Churchill's case, it's civilization itself. It's literally how civilization is organized and defined and conceived that he saw under attack or soon to be under attack by the time the late 1930s rolls around. And he's pounding on people as a leader to pay more attention to that kind of threat, what he called an existential threat. And it's easy for us to lose sight of that. So for Churchill, kind of ironically, I think, eyes up and eyes out meant actually looking down and looking more inward, more fundamentally toward the ground level of what life really is, and recognizing that it's not just economic issues, it's not just economic security and all of the rest, but it's things even more basic than that can come under threat, and we have to pay attention to those threats. So I think that also holds true today. We shouldn't get diverted or bogged down only in economic issues. As great as they are, there are other issues for us to be concerned with. So three different looks, three different aspects of eyes up and eyes out from the late 1930s with A&P, Grumman, and Winston Churchill. You might want to ask yourself a question here, and that is, for yourself as a leader, and we're all, I think in our session, we all probably are united in the fact that we're trying to be leaders in our respective lives, respective rivers. You need to ask yourself, where am I in each of those three aspects of eyes up, eyes out? Which ones do I excel at? Which ones do I have to work harder at? Which ones perhaps do I overlook more than I should? We're not perfect at all things, so all three of these present different challenges to us, and it's good self-evaluation and a self-assessment for you to ask yourself, how do I do each of those three pieces of eyes up, eyes out? Maybe that's the basis of our conversation that we have in private here shortly. I'll get in touch with you. You'll get this in an email. I'll include an attachment with both the paddles and the notes on the river in one spot. I think it'd be helpful for you to have that. I'll be in touch soon, so let's get together. I'm Dan Miller, Historical Solutions LLC, and you can bank on the fact that I wish you all the best.